Shriman. Nyayaha. Nyayaha pramana anugrahaka abhedakarakaha tarkaha nyayaha. In a simple manner, that which supports righteous existence. See, whenever there is that individuality absent, it is only that time that righteousness functions. The moment that individuality comes up, what happens to the righteousness? Righteousness does not have a shade of grey. Either it is righteous or unrighteous. The moment individuality pops up, conveniences pop up. Whenever there is a layers of conveniences that pop up, righteousness becomes unrighteous, a mode of conveniences. You now understand where we get stuck up, where we get stuck. It is not that the world is being harsh. It is not that the life is being harsh. It is not that being righteous is being harsh. Righteousness is most simple. It is the individuality with its own personal likes and dislikes, patterns of these vasanas, which make life and living difficult. Therefore, if on this path we are connected to that vision, we are connected to the totality, we allow that resourcefulness to function through us, be impartial and utmost righteous. Again here, a bit of warning. We have every right to be righteous. But be righteous not from the egotistical standpoint. That's another barrier. Understand the difference. Be allowing the righteousness to flow through and trying to be righteous are two different things. Whenever there is that individuality trying to be righteous, you will always fall short. And you will always get hurt. I have always been righteous. Why is this happening to me? You know, the association with righteousness. Then you become a block for your own life to flow with your self-righteous, better than the rest attitude. Righteousness does not give us the right or authority to claim or to be arrogant enough to claim that I am better than the rest. Righteousness indeed finds its fulfillment when it leads the individual towards humility. Because many a times, those who are in that path of righteousness, they become very rigid as a personality. So rigid that they, in any environment they cannot blend in. Be like water, not like ice cubes. Both are water, essentially. One can blend in any environment. The other one has its pokey edges. You know, put a handful of ice cubes in a glass. How do those ice cubes exist in that glass? You know, one is protruding this way, one is this way. Everybody is trying to grab its own space. Righteousness does not demand its own space. Because if it is right, it already has its place. Are you getting the difference? There's a very subtle difference here. So allow that righteousness, nyayaha, to express through. That is being in connection with divine. So what is the immediate check? In my effort of that vision and connection with the totality, when the resourcefulness is flowing through, am I grounded? Am I humble? And that is a self-check. If that humility is lacking, somewhere in the entire track, there is something, a very key ingredient missing. Either I have not understood the goal, or I have not connected with the totality, or there is that shades of individuality born into conveniences which is breaking up the very fragment of righteousness. Because in righteousness there is no shades. There is either righteous or unrighteous. Am I getting across? One of them has to be corrected. And when all of these are aligned, such one is called a true leader. This is what you find in Bhagavan Ramchandra ji. A true mark of a leader. Wherein he commanded respect of so many people, and yet he was one among them. He was inspiring to lead the entire team, but with himself ahead of them. Before he could stake anybody else's life, it was him in front of anybody. And he would not just talk the talk, but walk the talk. Agranir Gramani Shriman Nyayaha. Such one is the true Neta. Neta, the leader. How are today's Neta? There was one beautiful poetry by a 7th grader in one of the Balvihar camps. He defined Neta very beautifully. He says, Neta wo plus leta minus deta. Aaj ka hamara neta. The one who constantly aims for gaining more and more, but does not give anything productive back to the society. Such one is our leader today. All over the world. Because each one is functioning based on their own shades of conveniences. And the various thoughts that are running in that I can give parallel examples. But this is not a political environment, so I am withdrawing myself from stating anything on anybody. Commenting on a Neta. This is not true leadership. A true leadership is when you have all these qualities, you are aligned, and you step aside. That individuality steps aside, and you allow that divinity to flow through. And that is what is said in the next word. Samiranaha. How effortless should be this person? Like the air going in and out. Unless you are jumping a flight of stairs or catching a flight with all your luggage, or you are down with asthma. You don't remember your breath. Isn't it? How seamless it goes in and out. This individual who is constantly inspired, constantly benefits the environment that they are living in, constantly lives for the entire environment, allows that resourcefulness to flow through, does not claim or take credit for that which is being flowing through, exists in the system, not other than the system, but as a part of the system. Very few that you see with such a caliber. Once Gurudev said something to the entire congregation that was sitting there in Siddhabari, and we were all like wowed. And that particular moment was such an overwhelming thing that his half an hour lecture had just hit the right spot in everybody's heart. And he was sitting after his breakfast reading the newspaper. I think it was the French Open, Steffi Graf had won or something, and he was gloriously reading that piece of news. And one of these senior members, he comes and he says, in a Punjabi, he comes and he says, "Oh, Swamiji, tusi great ho ji." And Swamiji looks up at him and I'm still looking at him, and he translates that sentence for the rest of us and says, "You are extraordinary, Swamiji." So he folds his paper, and then even in that act, in a perfect fold, and he puts it on the table in front of him and said, "True! I am an extra among the ordinary." That groundedness, to be grounded in and not claim to be any mystical or any special, but be a part of the entire system and allow that divinity to flow through seamlessly, like the breath flows through, samiranaha, like the breath flows through in and out seamlessly. That is how they exist in the environment. Agranir, Gramani, Shriman, Nyayo, Neta, Samiranaha. Such one is called a true leader in this society. So if we really understand the statement, don't go out today from this lecture thinking, waiting for one such to come by in your life. Even if you did not plan to hear this, by mistake you have heard it. You are not planning to be here, but by mistake you are here, you heard it. And nowadays through this internet and multimedia, you can reach out to as many. If today's thing has been heard by us, we should not be stepping out waiting for somebody to come and change our life and our environment around us. It should be I growing to that level so that I am the true example of the first sentence of this line. Agranir, Gramani, Shriman, Nyayo, Neta, Samiranaha. And that expression would be the true meditation of the Lord. Meditation does not necessarily mean, yes, it does mean that you have to close your eyes. It does not limit itself only to that little fragmented area of your experience that I am meditating. Open your eyes, and when you interact with the world, if this is the true vision and inspiration that is burning within, then you are in constant meditation, even in action. Agrani, Gramani, Shriman, Nyayo, Neta, Samiranaha. And how many are the possibilities? Sahasramurdha Vishwatma Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. How huge is the possibility? Infinite is the possibility. Meaning, each one of us is a possibility waiting to happen. That is why no scripture, no guru in the Upanishad or any scripture has ever called his or her own student as Mudhatma. They have always referred to the student as Divyatma. That you are that true potential, you are not a mere mortal. You are that immortal. You are that infinite possibility ready to happen, that potential to unfold. For all this to happen, we have to start from our faith in the Lord. For that inspiration to burn within, pray incessantly that, oh Lord, give me that inspiration. Give me that by whose presence that inspiration is constantly lit in my heart. Nyayo Neta Samiranaha. Sahasra Murdha, meaning all these infinite heads, infinite species. Vishvatma, that which is one with this universe and expressing as the universe, meaning each one of us. Sahasrakshaha, behind every single of these eyes that are able to see. Sahasrapat, organs of perception, organs of action. That which is functioning is this infinite possibility. It is not that there is one in a million or one in 100 years that there is one realized soul that comes by. That's a pretty constipated existence. So we don't believe in one prophet. Each one of us is nothing but a prophet ready to happen. That is the infinite possibility. So recently, I have some of my best experiences in my travel, conversations with the TSA. I should write a book on it. Conversations with the TSA. Do you know who is TSA? When you go into the airport, there are those people who check you, right? So this fellow says, what religion are you? You're wearing different kinds of clothes. What religion are you? I said, I'm a Hindu. So he said, who is your prophet? I said, you are talking to him. So he was stunned, he didn't know what to say, and then after a while he gathered, you mean to say you are like Jesus? So I looked straight into it and said, I'm not like Jesus, I am Jesus. And he didn't know what to say, I just picked my luggage and left. Why would he arrest me for that? Or he may have heard it wrong and he may have to go to the doctor. Infinite is the possibility. It is not once in a lifetime that there is some prophet or a master that comes by. Each one of us is nothing but that infinite, that immortal, ready to recognize its own true potential, his or her own true potential. That seamless is the existence. अग्रणी ग्रामणी श्रीमान न्यायो नेता समीरणः सहस्रमूर्धा विश्वात्मा सहस्राक्ष सहस्रपात. We will see the next shloka tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.